This is Niger Delta Television News. Thanks for joining us. On the highlight, Bayelsa State Civil Service Commission fixes Thursday, 12th June 2025 for conduct of supplementary examination into the civil service. Creek Youth Agenda organizes one-day education summit at Ogobri in Sagbama local government area of Bayelsa State. Plus, federal government cancels June 12 Democracy Day parade. The Bayelsa State Civil Service Commission has fixed Thursday, 12th of June 2025 for the conduct of supplementary examination into the state civil service. The supplementary examination is to be conducted for only candidates who experienced difficulties and could not log in and participate in the just concluded examination of 10th June 2025. While the Commission recognizes the little glitches and difficulties initially faced by candidates in their attempt to take part in the examination, it considers the examination relatively successful as 72% of the total accredited candidates successfully logged in and participated with results already collated. However, it also considers it important for the sake of fairness and equal opportunity to allow the remaining 28% have access and participate in the examination. It therefore warns that only candidates who do not log in and participate in the earlier examination are allowed to take part in the supplementary examination, adding that any candidate who violates this rule will be automatically disqualified. Candidates are to use their existing username and password for the supplementary examination. They are also requested to observe the examination rules, as the Commission shall not conduct any other exam after this. Time for the examination is 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Thursday, 12th June 2025. A non-governmental organization, Creek Youth Agenda, has organized a one-day education summit at Ogobri with the theme Creek Compliance Education for Global-Oriented Productivity, in a bid to increase knowledge and develop potentials of students in the 15 communities of Main Oyakri clan in Sagbama local government area of Bayelsa State. The member representing Sagbama Constituency 2 at the Bayelsa State House of Assembly, Captain Kenebai Bernard, retired, who served as guest of honor at the summit, commended the NGO for their efforts, which he described as a journey to self-discovery. Correspondent Nelson Agadi completes the reports.
The summit was indeed quite informative and enlightening, as people from targeted communities gathered in their numbers to participate in it. Playing his role as a special guest of honor, Captain Kenebai Bernard, retired, was quite impressed with the quality of summit and called for sustainability.
This is a journey to self-discovery, and one for which we can commend you and hope that you will sustain it to the benefit of our youth coming up and our children for tomorrow.
Earlier in his welcome address, the chairman of the youth organization, Prince Perry Akwe, gave reasons for the establishment of the body.
The Creek Youth Agenda, CYA, is the topmost youth organization in the main Oyaki with 15 communities. 3 wards in Constituency 2 of Sagbama LG, and it is apolitical. The outright neglect, deprivation, and or marginalization of the creek in terms of infrastructural and human capital development, among others, necessitated the establishment of the Creek Youth Agenda in 2021.
While the organizing committee chairman, Dr. Emmanuel Eweke, a lecturer at the University of Otueke, said that the youth body is committed to advancing knowledge at all levels.
Come to reality and terms to environmental reality and how that can make us to function in the world, in the digital world, that will enable us to be global citizens. So creek compliant education is what kind of education should we give to people in riverine areas that are kind of cut off from where social amenities, government presence and all that, and still make them function optimally.
As part of the program, A panel discussion was not left out as panelists gave their various views on the day's discussion. The program also featured a performance by a cultural group. The high point of the occasion were presentation of award and unveiling of 10,000 books. Some of the participants have this to say.
I'm very excited because I haven't had a gift from the government. So
As the team clearly stated out, click compliant education for global-oriented productivity, meaning that the youth within the CRIC communities, they have a role to play. They have to be submissive. How they have to be willing to learn. They have to be ready to learn, including the teachers.
It's not what is written in the books. Education is the consciousness that we have, the drive for self-development, the pursuit to say, I want to become something in life.
And so for us in the House of Assembly, we intend to come up with laws, legislation that will support the education system.
We should be committed to education, to learning at different levels, whether it's acquisition of skills, whether formal classroom learning, to ensure that we have what we need, the experiences and the knowledge we need to be productive persons in wherever we find ourselves.
I'm Nelson Agari Jr., reporting for NDTV News.
The Zone 16 Police Command, comprising of Rivers and Bayelsa States Police Command, has exonerated its personnel from recent allegations of misconduct by members of the public. In a statement on Thursday, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of the zone, Tolani Alausa, said the attention of the zone has been drawn to recent complaints alleging that some officers of Zone 16 Command were involved in certain misconduct. However, the command stated that after thorough forensic investigation, it was revealed that the officers accused of misconduct are not from the zonal command headquarters, but were rather officers who impersonated personnel from the zone. In the statement, AIG Tolani Alausa reiterated zero tolerance to any form of indiscipline or unprofessional conduct which is capable of bringing disrepute to the image of the Bayelsa and Rivers State Police Commands and the Nigerian police force at large, or cause undue hardship to the good citizens of Nigeria. The AIG also wishes to intimate and notify members of the public, especially residents of Bayelsa and Rivers states, to use the statement as a guide and always furnish the police authorities with information on any purported illegal moves. You're watching 9 Delta Television News, reaching you from our studios here in the complex. On the headlines, Bayelsa State Civil Service Commission fixes Thursday, 12th June 2025 for conduct of supplementary examination into the State Civil Service. CRIC Youth Agenda organized one-day education summit at Ogobri in Sawama local government area of Bayelsa State. On the headlines, and still to come, federal government cancels June 12 Democracy Day parade. Details of these and other stories coming after the break. Do stay with us.
Welcome to Niger Delta Television News and Current Affairs Department at the NSE Koli Media Complex, here in Yanagwa, Bayelsa State.
One of NDTV's traditional objectives is to disseminate information with renewed vigor. We build teamwork for accountability, efficiency, and accuracy.
Our community reports, eyewitness accounts, current affairs discussions are detailed and competitive.
As NDTV reporters, undiluted report is our goal. We gather the news and bring it to you just as it is.
Our cameras are poised to get in the story behind the story in an in-depth news report.
Our new digital equipment are top-notch with clearer visuals and audio. NDTV is repositioned to serve you better. Join us on the news every day at 7 a.m., 12 p.m., and our major bulletin at 7:30 p.m. on Channel 25 UHF. NDTV, crystallizing the vision.
We're glad to have you back. The news continues. The federal government has announced the cancellation of the traditional military parade to commemorate the 26th Democracy Day earlier scheduled for Thursday, June 12, 2025. According to details released by the Interministerial Committee on the Democracy Day celebration, President Bola Tinubu will deliver a nationwide address at 7 a.m. on Thursday, foregoing the traditional Democracy Day parade observed in previous years. President Tinubu will instead participate in a special joint session of the National Assembly at 12 noon same Thursday. The joint session is anticipated to include discussions on the state of the nation, reflections on Nigeria's democratic journey, and renewed appeals for national unity and reform. Later in the day, a public lecture is planned to take place at the State House Conference Center in Abuja at 4 p.m., which will gather government officials, political leaders, and civil society stakeholders to contemplate the country's democratic path under the theme Consolidating on the Gains of Nigeria's Democracy, Necessity of Enduring Reforms. Niger Delta Television NDTV will hook up to the program at 7 p.m. on Thursday, 12th June 2025. And from the entertainment scene, Nigeria comedian and activist Mr. Macaroni defends Tunde Onakoya, the celebrated chess champion, over his visit to President Bola Tinubu. For this and more entertainment news, let's join Williams Bakerway.
According to reports, Nigerian comedian and activist Mr. Macaroni has come to the defense of Tunde Onakoya, the celebrated chess champion, following public backlash over his recent visit to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. On June 10, 2025, Onakoya, who holds the Guinness World Record for the longest chess marathon, visited the president in Lagos and presented him with a gold-plated Adire chess set. The gesture, however, triggered heavy criticism from many Nigerians who questioned the optics of engaging with a leader many hold responsible for worsening poverty and economic hardship. He was called out by social media users who suggested that the meeting undermined Onakoya's advocacy for slum children. However, Mr. Macaroni, a vocal critic of Nigerian leadership, expressed support for Onakoya, reminding Nigerians that everyone has a different role to play in building a better country. Tari Prido Ikidi reporting for NDTV's Entertainment News.
And from the foreign scene, in Austria, police are hunting for clues after a gunman opened fire at his former high school on Wednesday, killing 9 students and a teacher in a deadly spree that has stunned the country. Scores of shocked people gathered near the scene of the crime to observe a minute of silence 24 hours after the rampage in the city of Graz, mourning the victims of one of the worst school shootings in the country's history. Authorities confirmed they had searched the home of the 21-year-old Austrian national who attacked the secondary school. Graz police spokesman Sabri Jorgen said officers had discovered a non-functional makeshift bomb, a suicide note, and a video message at the shooter's home. Of the 10 people who died in the shooting, 9 were students aged between 14 and 17. All of those killed were Austrian citizens, apart from one who was a Polish national. And as the war in Gaza rages, at least 120 Palestinians have been killed and 474 injured in Israeli attacks across Gaza in the past 24 hours. Also, Israeli strikes have killed at least 57 aid seekers, bringing the total number of people killed at aid distribution centers to 224, with 1,858 others injured. The Israeli military has admitted its troops fired warning shots in the area of the Netzarim corridor, where the majority of aid seekers were reported killed. Gaza's health ministry says Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 55,104 Palestinians and wounded 124,394. And from the ever-busy world of sports, Ahead of the grand finale of the Prosperity Cup 2025, the Central Organizing Committee held a press conference in Yenagoa. Sports journalists across Bayelsa State got first-hand information of the itinerary of the third place and final games of the male and female events. Governor Doye Diri is expected to take the ceremonial kickoff of the final encounter. Correspondent Ayemi Miene gives us details.
As the Bayelsa Governors Cup, also known as the Prosperity Cup 2025, the seventh in the series, comes to a fitting conclusion on Friday, the Central Organizing Committee midweek reeled out the program of activities of the grand finale to newsmen at the main bowl of the Samson Siasia Stadium in Yenagoa.
This year we had 231 teams that participated in 26 centers in the men category, while the female version had 27 registered teams with 20 teams participating. For this year's finals, EGM will play Advanced Dreams FA in the final of the tournament on Friday, the 13th June 2025 at the Samson Siasia Stadium, while the Afini ladies will take on Ezua Soccer Academy in the female finals. In the third place match, we are going to have Crusaders FC that will take on Bayelsa Feeders FC as well. This is another interesting match, which is almost like a final before the final.
The Director General of the competition believes it has all been worth the while. High-profile sporting personalities shall be gracing the ground occasion.
Special guest of honor on that day is the NFF President, Kenneth Boboye, Emmanuel Amamakapo, George Finidi, Emmanuel Omunike this time are expected to be here.
The Prosperity Cup remains Nigeria's biggest grassroots sports competition and platform for budding talents to act out themselves.
England appeared as listless as they had against Andorra a few days ago, once again failing to capitalize on their early lead. The first goal England gave up under new manager Thomas Tuchel came in the 40th minute of his fourth game as manager. In the final 50 minutes of a friendly against Senegal at the City Ground in Nottingham, they would also give up the next two goals of his tenure, suffering their first loss under his leadership, 3-1. Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson, who had one of his best games in recent months, set up Senegal's equalizer just before halftime, then continued to play a key role as the African Giants put two more past the Three Lions in the second period. England once again performed well below expectations, which may be reflected in the final score of 3-1. Senegal, on the other hand, has not lost a game outside of a penalty shootout at the previous Africa Cup of Nations in nearly 2 years. Ayemi Miene for NDTV Sports.
And now to end NDTV News, here is a recap of our major stories. The Bayelsa State Civil Service Commission has fixed Thursday, 12th of June 2025 for the conduct of supplementary examination into the State Civil Service. We also brought you a report that a non-governmental organization, Creek Youth Agenda, has organized a one-day education summit at Ogobri with the theme Creek Compliance, Education for Global-Oriented Productivity. And finally, the federal government has announced the cancellation of the traditional military parade to commemorate the 26th Democracy Day, earlier scheduled for Thursday, June 12, 2025. That's it on news. Thanks for watching. I am Joyce Batowe.